Okay, I'm just doing short videos of my guitars, or most of them, just to, I don't know, record them for posterity, for an insurance claim or whatever I might need in the future. Anyway, this one, it's a Gibson 1959 Les Paul reissue, and it's, even the case is relic. I don't know if you can tell, but this case is, it looks like it's sort of done the miles. Maybe you can't see it, but even to the touch, it feels quite sort of rough. Anyway, there we are. It's a 2021 Murphy Lab ultra heavy aged Les Paul in lemon burst. Now, I don't think the camera can really do this justice, or really any of them. I'm only using a phone camera. I haven't got any sort of good quality camera equipment. I probably should have. But this thing, I honestly think, for the uninitiated, I think if you showed this to somebody and you sort of swore blind it was a 1959, I think a lot of people would believe it. I've never seen a finish quite like it. The only one that's similar, and I actually nearly bought one a few weeks ago, is the Greenie Les Paul. The difference being that the neck humbucker was reversed. I'm sure everybody knows the story. Peter Green's Les Paul, and it was cleaned up by a tech, and he inserted the neck pickup the wrong way around, wired it back to front, and it gave this, when you put it in the middle position, it gave this distinctive sort of quack sound, which Peter Green really loved. He sold the guitar to Gary Moore, and eventually it's ended up with Kirk Hammett of Metallica, and they rarely come up used. I could only find one in the UK that was used, and that was nearly 16 grand, and I really sort of hummed and hawed about getting it. But actually this one is very similar. That has, the other one's got Greenie buckers in, whatever, I'm not sure what the difference is. These are unpotted custom buckers, Alnico 3s. So anyway, I bought something else in the end, which I'll also show on a video. But yeah, it's incredible, the finish. It's just out of this world. I've never been lucky enough to get close to an original 59. So there's some flame in there, but it's just sort of light flame, but it sort of has a bit of red around the edges, or sort of almost orangey brown, so it's not completely sort of lemon coloured, but I really like that, so it does really make it like it's still a burst. And I'll just show you the back. So there we are, the headstock. That'll have, if I can show it, that'll have lacquer checking as well. And the Les Paul, the silkscreen Les Paul signature has been faded, so it's there, but it's hard to see. So they've sort of thought of everything. All this was done by the Murphy Lab. Some of the Murphy Lab started in 2021, so some of the 2021 Les Pauls, and I think maybe even some of the 22s, I'm not sure, some of them had problems where the finish started to flake off. So I was a bit concerned when I found that out, because this is a 2021. But I've had no problems with it, and I understand that it was actually the ones more with the sort of dark cherry finish. It was the dye was the problem. So this one's got a sort of a fairly sort of honey coloured back. But there we are, look, loads of fake wear, and also you'll notice it's the same with all of these. These all come with a medallion that either show it being a 60th anniversary or whatever it is. and I take the medallions off. They all come with the black disc in the case, and I take the medallions off and I put them in the case to save them. Just the reason being, I'm not trying to kid anyone, despite what I said about you could probably tell someone it was an original and they might believe you if they didn't know much about guitars. But the reason I take them off is because I think, you know, they go to all this trouble, and I've gone to all this expense of sort of building a bit of a collection of Les Pauls that are, you know, relics and reissues of original guitars from the late 50s and 60s, whatever. So I think that, you know, you put the black disc on, it just makes it look original. So I'm not trying to kid anyone. The medallion's in the case, but I just think it looks better. I prefer it myself. Nobody sees the back of it, do they? Until now. And I was lucky really, because if you can see that, the serial number, obviously it's an R9, starts with a 9, but the end of the serial number ends in 59. So that was quite lucky really, and I was actually born in 1959, so I think this guitar and me were kind of meant to meet up. So everywhere you look, there's the finishes worn. I mean, the neck's just fantastic, and then all around the edges here. I started naming my guitars. I've said in other videos, when we were in lockdown and I was bored, I started trying to think of names for my guitars, but I struggled with this one. I wanted to call it Koss because I'm a big Paul Kossoff fan, but it's not really finished like Paul Kossoff's, and he had the scratch plate off, which I won't do. I always leave them on. So I've called it Murph, which I think other people have probably done the same, just after Tom Murphy, who created the Murphy Lab and oversees it now still. So for want of a better idea, I called it Murph, but I may change that at some point. I always thought naming guitars was a bit daft really, but I just did it for something to do. So there we are, that's my 2021 Gibson Murphy Lab Ultra Heavy Aged R9 Les Paul. Cheers.